Hello, welcome to the Daily Loop. Right, let's check the transfer bids. Okay, we don't want to sell this guy. One of a few players we just don't want to sell, I think. We'll go to Academy Trialists. The tackling is 46, it's good. 23 passing. We could wait for the speed, we could dismiss him now. One of the two. Positioning doesn't really matter, but it did come out at 58. Vision matters a lot. So at this moment, this guy could possibly be the AMC role, I think, or he could also potentially be the ML, like the attacking wide midfielder or the defensive wide midfielder. So there's options where he could become, depending on how these other attributes. So we could hold on to him for now. 60 finishing. Oh wow. So yeah, we'll just hold on at this point. I think we just want to find out the determination and speed for sure, and we'll take it from there. But it's looking pretty promising. These have to be a big letdown, I think, to let him go at this point. Very high natural fitness. Right, so I think at this point, if we are to get rid of one, it's probably most likely to be the central defender, to be honest, and that's a little bit to do with how good he is, but more to do with the fact that we just don't need a DC, because we got a couple graduate DCs last month. So it's probably going to be him, but we'll see if there's anybody, because we're sort of happy with everybody to hold on a little bit at this point. So let's just scan. I think just too many things too low for that guy. Yeah, too many things too low. Shot stopping 28. Would rather just keep the AMR guy. Would rather keep the DC we've got. Don't use the L. It has got 60 finishing, 60 movement. With that speed, which is okay, but the crossing just ain't going to matter, so that's coming up next. The dribbling will matter a bit. I think the problem here is that this guy basically can only be a poacher, and the issue with that is that the control just kind of matters a lot for them to receive the ball, but and we also don't need a striker. At the moment we've got two youth strikers that aren't starting, can't even get off the bench. That may change, but it's not a high priority like the DC. And striker is also another non-priority position, so probably we'll just stick with the DC, because at least we can get rid of him if the speed is low. Whereas this striker, I feel like we're hanging around until basically everything at this point, because he can only really be poacher, and he's very deficient in the control, which kind of just means you just have to be so good at everything. It feels like you're just holding on to him forever if we get him, so we just probably won't do that. Decent, I think alright or whatever, but we'd rather just stick with the MCs we've got. 60 marking, 58 aerial ability, so that's really good. The passing is low. And then we've got sort of like ABC, as in the natural fitness, sure, and then the speed, which will matter a lot, and then the tackling. We'll compare this guy to the DC we've got. We'll just look at the rest quickly. 11 passing. Yeah, just don't even see what the passing is coming up. This guy is quite interesting because composure 49, that's fine. Dribbling not particularly high. Strength 45 is decent. Decent determination. A lot of decent stuff. The speed is coming up, so that would matter a lot. And then long shots. So we could instantly dismiss him because of the low speed. Again, striker not a priority, but this guy's got some very good attributes. Let's just set the final DC. Yeah. So I feel like we probably do want to remove this DC. Probably. And maybe. Some tough decisions here, to be honest, because I could totally see just waiting for this guy for a day to find the speed out. Because he could be potentially the poacher role, but I think he's more likely to just be an all-round striker. He's good if he's fast, good in the air. He's got decent link-up play. I think he's just quite well-rounded potentially. No real obvious deficiencies yet. That may obviously all change, but for now, I quite like the look. And then this guy, if he happens to end up with really far, like say 60 speed, 60 tackling, and he's quite close to just being an elite centre half at that point. Whereas I think this guy, the marking isn't great already. He has got the high determination and composure. And the other interesting bit is just DC and striker are just not priorities. This guy, I think because he can only be a destroyer and not the deep line playmaker, and we want to build a team around a deep line playmaker, like I think we can just move him out. And then I think also that this guy, the speed is just coming up, so we could just instant speed. I think this guy, there's a tricky one because we can just instantly dismiss him after the speed, but I also just think the passing isn't great. He's got one strength. I don't know. I think I'd rather just speculate on this guy because he could be elite, and I don't think we really bothered about getting another DC, but if a player's elite, you're always bothered about getting them, so I think we'll gamble on the one that could be elite. So yeah, so we got a couple changes there. Let's go to the scouted players. Yeah, so I think to try to be clear what the decision making there is, just that the DMC here that we moved out, he could be a great destroyer, but we don't use a destroyer in our tactic. That's not what we really want to build towards. We want a deep line playmaker. He can't really play that role, mostly just because of the vision. He could be an elite destroyer off the bench, which is why we had him. Like, he could be great for that, but and it's fine to have elite players that can only sort of be substitutes potentially, but we just decided it was better to get this striker because mostly because I feel like we'll be able to more easily dismiss him. Like if this aerial ability comes out at 30 or 40, like if it comes out at 1 or whatever, we can probably just dismiss him. But if it comes out at 30 or 40, we can hang on a bit. If the determination comes out at 30 or 40, we can hang on a bit. If the marking comes out at 30 or 40, we can hang on, etc. There isn't really an attribute here where you're saying it's 30 or 40, we can just dismiss him at any point really. Whereas this guy, the very next attribute, you're saying if that's 30 or 40, we probably just instantly dismiss him at that point, because he needs to be really fast, I think, to be useful, because he can't, because of just the other attributes. I think he just needs to at 30 it's just not enough, and mid 40s would probably just not bother, so we can instantly kind of dismiss this guy. Whereas this guy just feels like you're hanging around forever waiting for a player that like I said, could be an elite destroyer to try to close out a match, but and I don't think that's insignificant, by the way. Just, and the determination, I guess I don't know. So it's a tough one. I mean, that one's close because we also don't need the striker. I think that's the key thing here. And he probably doesn't work out, to be clear here, because I think we would want really high speed or moderately high, like 45 or whatever, with really good aerial ability. You want really high finishing, and that's a long ways off. That's the thing. So that's the reason to not take the striker, to be honest, because it doesn't almost matter what the finishing, the aerial ability, the long shots, none of this stuff. It could be 60, 60, 60, 60, and if that finishing comes out at like, well, maybe if it's all 60s, then that's different. But you know what I mean? They come out pretty high, and then the finishing comes out at like 30 or something, and that's it. And that's pretty late on, so that's a reason to not take this guy. Now I'm second guessing myself quite a bit. Let's go back to the other one now that we're there. I feel like this guy just has the potential to be elite. So, and you got key stuff coming up. Like the tackling, you can just dismiss him. So the difference between the DC and the striker is that the tackling is the C letter, and the striker, it's G. So it's miles away, basically. It's the second last attribute. No, it's not. It's the third last attribute, in fact, to be revealed. So, and then the other DC. So I think the DC swap was fine. I think the question is just, should this guy be the DMC instead? And probably is the answer, actually, as it turns out. So we've second guessed ourselves. We've gone through, and it's just because that finishing is so late on. That's the reason. So we'll have him hanging around forever. We could instantly dismiss him, maybe, because of the speed, but the thing is, I think there is a difference in mindset, because we're now halfway through the month, basically, so about halfway through. So we do need to. Last month we got into a bit of a problem that we had too many players that had a key attribute like that finishing with a very late letter, and I think it meant that we've ended up with suboptimal graduates, to be honest, compared to what we could have had if we just planned things a little bit better at the midpoint, like now. With players like this, because this is what I'm talking about, like players where this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because what we're really saying is almost like, as long as these attributes kind of generally come out decently, we're just happy with this guy. He's already got the tools. It's almost like if every other attribute is just 30, let's say, that's a good test maybe. If every other attribute comes out at 30, are you happy with this guy? And I think the answer is yes, we're happy with this guy. I mean, he's not great, he's not elite, but you're happy with him. He has the tools that he needs to be the destroyer, basically. He has the speed, he has the tackling, and he has good enough passing to just not surrender the ball too easily when he wins it. So yeah, right, scouter players. 22 years old, 75 shot stopping, 80 agility. So this is what we're talking about, the handling, parrying, and agility. You don't want all of them to be low, but that's okay. The handling and the parrying is not too bad, let's say, I guess. But the agility is compensating for that fine. The shot stopping is good. The organization is really bad, and he's got good command of area, which helps make up for that quite a bit to do with the set pieces. Ideally, though, we've got a lot of players with good aerial ability. So ideally it would be the other way around, but you know, it is what it is. I'm not. I just want to compare. This is 52-64. I think the guy to compare this to be honest, at the moment, is this guy. He's got 84 shot stopping, 74 handling. Okay. This guy's very good at that stuff. Yeah, all right. That's not better than the one we've got. Let's just keep going. Bit old, but he's quite well rounded. He's quite nice, but he's just a bit old for us. Don't use left backs. Don't use right backs. Don't use left wing back. It's not good enough quite. We've got other DMCs that are just similar sort of, probably the ones who got a little bit better than this guy, I'd say, and a bit younger. Don't use DMR. Right, just not good enough. Too old. 16 speed. Maybe. I think we've got decent MCs now, so we're looking for our youth team. So we're just looking for players probably a bit better than this guy. Quite a few young MCs here. I think could have considered most of these if we didn't have them for our youth team yet, but we do. 52 passing. When we have a possession retention sort of tactic. Too old. Too old. Don't use AMLs. Pretty nice, but we picked up Ishikawa the other day, and this guy's a bit old. Ishikawa has a lot of what we're looking for, but again, just a bit too old. So let's not bother too much. Ishikawa's pretty nice though, the guy we picked up. This guy, yeah, just don't use AMRs. Just end up a pretty easy day, right? So pretty well rounded, but a bit old again for us. I think just the finishing in composure is a bit old, so we probably, but if that finishing composure was like 81 and 83, we would be very, very tempted, because we do need that more clinical goal scorer. But yeah, probably not just yet. We're probably okay to get promoted this season. Our form is very, very good. Again, too old, and this guy just not good enough. And yeah, let's just check out the auctions, because I feel like now we're already at a stage where it's more likely that we're going to find the players we want here. Did we bid yesterday? I don't think we did. A whole bunch of players went. This guy is potentially pretty interesting for the AMC role, because he's got the high control, the high strength. We talk about that a lot, and he's got decent finishing composure, decent pass. He could be, yeah, it's quite a. So the finishing, unfortunately, I mean, it is 70, but yeah, but he's too expensive for us anyway. But potentially he's pretty good, and he's like really fast. But again, we're just looking for that next step up in the finishing. Something, I think what we really want is something closer to 80 finishing, to be honest. Something closer to this, but yeah, doesn't have the path, doesn't have the other attributes to back it up. He's been there the other day, we saw him, and yeah, I mean, at this point, this is a thing now, because we've got Ishikawa. I mean, he's injured again, but it's going to be pretty difficult to get an upgrade over this guy with this. I mean, he's got 90 speed, it is about to go down, but still 88, super high. And yeah, having said that, he's only got 66 finishing and 37 composure, so we can definitely get the upgrade, but it's like, yeah, may take some time. So we're very picky, right? Like I was saying the other day, I think the time to get that player is probably going to be like at the start of the season, in the opening sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 days sort of thing. Just because the contracts all expire, so that's when there's just a lot of shuffling between teams and players and stuff, and a lot better opportunities exist at the start of the season, each season. So I think that's going to be our window of opportunity, to be honest. So having you know, having some cash carry over is not the worst thing, pretty much. Alright, so I think that's it. Oh no, the training options. Need a little notepad in front of me. Right, so this is the keeper that we really wanted to build up over time. So his speed is less. Right, it doesn't matter too much for the keepers, and 70 is plenty good. 4, 3, 2, 5. So we're saying 2 one-on-ones versus 1 organisation. What was his command area 56? It's actually a pretty close one, because I'd say we don't give up many one-on-one chances, just because typically of our tactic, because we're playing 3 DCs and a DMC, so there's not a lot of one-on-one chances we give up. It's not a particularly important attribute. And then there's the, I think we're going to take the 1 point in organisation versus the 2 in one-on-ones, just because I think it's way more, conceding off of set pieces for us is way more of a thing than conceding on one-on-one chances, like way more. So, but for you, that could be, for most, I think for most teams and most tactics, it would be the other way around. You'd be caring more about the one-on-ones, I feel. So it is still 2 versus 1. That's the thing. I think we're just edging it a little bit for us. I don't know. It's still close. Still close. I think for most keepers, though, it's for sure it's going to be, you would pick A. And we also have to consider that that's now, obviously this keeper's very young and we're planning to get promoted and stuff. In the future we may be giving up more one-on-one chances, but you know, I also don't think we're going to use a contract extension on this guy, probably. So it is just next season is, I don't know, maybe we will. Maybe we should be having one eye on the future a little bit more. Let's take the one-on-ones, just have that one eye on the future a bit. It's pretty close. I'm not too yeah, it's pretty close decision. So Dokken -1 to 10. Oh gosh, yeah, what an option. So let's park the determination for a second and just try and work out what the option is outside of that, because it's even pretty complicated. So we're saying the strength is such a key attribute for this position. So if we were just ignoring the determination, would we rather have an extra 2 strength and an extra movement, or extra 2 long shots? And I think the answer is an extra 2 strength and an extra movement. Now you've got to factor in the determination, plus a 3-point swing in determination. He is playing quite a bit, so the determination does kind of matter for the training points. He is 24. Is a 3-point swing. Gosh, it's close. For sure it's A if you ignore that determination swing, but for sure it is. I mean, it is a factor as well that the long shots is pretty high, so getting that even higher is actually quite good, because it makes them, he's a genuine threat. That's the thing. If you have a player with long shots that's like, well, 28 to 30, let's say, it's not that big a deal. But to go from 73 to 75 is quite a big deal. Unlike some other attributes where like strength is like it's more linear sort of thing. It's just always good to be a bit higher. But it is true for the long shots. It's always good to be a bit higher. But I'm just saying they're not really a genuine goal scoring threat if they've got like 28 long shots. At 73 they are, and they just get that extra bit of efficiency. And you want to be creating a tactic where they take them, which we kind of have. He does take some. They're just more, yeah. Very close option. I just got to say that it's very rare we get one that's this close. It's a lot of future planning with that determination in here as well. Like, we're holding on to this guy longer term. I think we'll go with this one because in the shorter term we're probably fine regardless. So we might as well just get slightly better training options, I think, is what it comes down to in the future. That's what the determination really means. He's going to be playing enough still that he really has played enough this season that it's going to matter. Like, well, only affects the points going forwards. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know, it's so close. We'll come back. Let's just do the rest of them quickly. So it's one flair versus a work rate and an endurance and an agility. So definitely that one. Seems like it's just going to be this one, but we'll double check. So it's 2 extra aerial ability on this side, but I think the 6 in speed, 3 marking, 3 is definitely this one. Chapper 6 speed. So they're both 6, so we get a work rate and 2 composure versus 3 determination. I think that he's not really playing, so you're just saying work rate, composure, vision. I'm not sure. I mean, it feels like, seeing as they're not playing, so all it really is what attributes are going to get his value up the most. It's probably this one. And his value isn't going to be much anyway, so I'm not sure it matters too much. This guy, both +5, plus 2, 1 composure. It's probably this one. This side, I'll just check what it's got. It's got the flare, don't care too much about that. That's what it's got. Canalas. It's probably this one. One-on-ones. It's this side, I think. Baines. It's just going to be this one, isn't it? And Alpacian. It's probably going to be this one again, but let's just double check. Agility. So you get an extra 2. Maybe not, because he's a DC. So this side you're going to get the 2 marking. This side you're going to get 4 finishing, 2 natural fitness, and 2 agility. Ugh. So the agility matters a bit. The natural fitness matters. Is he starting? No, he's coming off the bench. It's an odd one, to be honest, because it's like if he's only coming off the bench ever, then the natural fitness kind of doesn't matter as much, and the finishing doesn't really matter. So then you're kind of left with saying, well, what's better, 2 marking or 2 agility? And it's going to be the 2 marking. Feels weird, but maybe B is the best option. Doesn't feel in. I think that might be the case. It feels a bit weird, but I think that's the correct one. So we were going to go back to Who was it? Was it Dokken? It's a bit like that DC that we just picked, I think. This one is a little bit like that. I feel like I don't know. I think it's so close, like for sure without the determination. But that's the thing; it's not without; it's with. And I think with that 3-point swing, it does allow the extra points to be accumulated, whatever they may be. And he is going to play. He is playing. He's going to start the next match, so it's not like he's not going to play. He's going to play matches. Basically, the other guy needs to be subbed off every match anyway. He's going to play a lot actually, so I think he's going to play every single match as things stand. So I think it's this option. Alright, so yeah, so that's that. Cheers, thanks for watching. Got some matches to play today as well. Cheers.